Welcome to Talk Around Riyadh, the Wheel of Time showcast. I am your host, Joe Perry, here with my co-hosts, Jen Isgro and Tom Kakoza. How you doing, Jen?
I'm okay. I've been better, but I'm okay. I'm powering through our sad times right now for the podcast and the community, but we're rallying. We got a lot of people on our side, and we're trying our best, and we're gonna keep going as long as we can.
That was such a generic, statement.
AI wrote that for me.
There's
earlier.
things happening, and they're
I don't want
going
to get too.
and moving, and we're positive about it.
You all know what I mean. I don't have to be specific.
Well, why? You don't want to? I think we have to be specific. Maybe people listening don't know what we mean.
I'm sorry if you don't know, but the Wheel of Time has been canceled by Prime Video.
Oh, that part, yes.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on it.
We're personally working on it.
We have top men on it.
Our research team is working overtime.
Tom, how you doing?
Oh man. Yeah. I'm doing great, Joe.
Looks like I picked a bad day to quit smoking.
Yeah. Can't say it's been the more cheerful week since the last time we recorded, when we first found out this sad news. I am very encouraged and heartened by the fan response to the news' cancellation and this whole Save Watt campaign that has been going on across multiple platforms. And I think, we're going to try, and despite this unbelievably cheery opening, we're going to try and bring a little hope and light to this week's episode. Isn't that right, Joe?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the purpose of this week's episode. Is to, one, talk a little bit more about the cancellation, because last week, we were kind of shocked still and had a lot of feelings, and we were also trying to celebrate season 3, and we didn't, trying not to have the two bleed into each other, but yeah, they did. Got a little messy. But I think we have cooler heads today. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the cancellation, like if there's anything new that we know about it. You mentioned Save Watt. There was a Renew Watt campaign. It quickly, very, very quickly switched over to a Save Watt campaign. So there's things going on there, and definitely would love everybody to participate in that. But then, when Barney left the show, remember we did that show talking about other TV shows where a main character or actor left the show when they replaced that actor? We said, let's do something similar. Let's talk about other shows that were canceled, but then picked up by another network. Because this brings us hope.
That's right.
Although maybe not so much hope when we go through this list and we talk about it and talk about the reasons why they got revived. But yeah, I think there's some good stuff in here for sure. Some heartwarming stories.
Okay. So what's first on your mind, Joe? Or what do you want to do? You want to talk about the cancellation first before we get into the...
Yeah, let's talk about it, right? There's been a lot of articles since last week when it first broke. I don't know if we really got that much new information. A lot of the same stuff over and over, I think. Viewership wasn't where they wanted it to be, especially in line with the amount of money they spend on the show. I think it was kind of funny, like literally the next day, there was news about Rings of Power, about how they're spreading a marketing campaign globally. And I was like, oh, that's where the Wheel of Time money's going.
There you go.
And there's some rumors circulating about things that happen behind the scenes. Nothing that we can confirm, just rumors we've heard. But I think at first, all the vitriol was aimed towards Amazon, but I think we've learned a little more about that, and Sony is just as much to blame for this as Amazon is. I heard a rumor that Amazon tried to renew the show last year for season 4, and Sony put the kibosh on that for, I don't know the reasons, the circumstances around it. So you really can't, speculate too much about like, oh, these people are jerks, which one are more, bigger jerks. But rumors about trying to slash the budget in half, shorter seasons, right? Proposals for like 6 episode seasons with half the budget. I heard things like that. Rafe was like, no, I'm not doing, if like that's what you want to do, I'm not going to do it that way because it's not going to be good. And I agree.
Right.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Jen and Tom? Like, would you, if there was an offer on the table to say do 2 or 3 more seasons, but 6 episodes a season, half the budget that they were using now, do you think they should have done that if it was actually something that was real?
I mean, if you think about it like, okay, you're getting 3 more seasons, 6 hours. Like, if you think about it in terms of a movie, it seems like a lot, but it's like just the way they have to film the episodes, with like a story in each episode instead of just like a 6-hour mini movie, not a mini movie, a large movie, but for like each book. So if you think about it like that, it sounds like it would be a lot. Okay, 3 more books, whatever it is, storyline. But
there's like 10 more books in the series.
No, I know. But so if they said originally, like, okay, we're going to do 6 seasons, 8 episodes, 6 seasons, like at the same level that we've already been getting, I would be happy with that.
Yeah.
Even though it's a lot to finish, they've cut out a lot, but that's like a normal amount of seasons now for a streaming TV show. That would be okay with me if they were doing it at the same budget and at the same episode. But the 6 episodes, half the budget.
And I think I heard 2 seasons too. I don't even know if they were going to go up to 3. It was like 1 or 2 seasons. So
I had heard 2 different offers. I had heard 1 season, same budget, and 2 seasons, half the budget. So they were going to spend this much money, and that's what you got. And then there were other things about like shortening the episodes and things of that nature that were all parts of that. But I think their general sense was like, hey, look, we want to give you this much money to do it. I think 1 more season is nuts. Like it's that I think that's like that goes back to the point of like, if you're going to do something and it's not going to be good, why even do it? I would say if there was a legitimate offer on the table of half the budget, 3 seasons at 6 episodes, I would go, yes, I think that's something they could take, right? Mm-hmm. And then I would say, not only can we do that, but can I backload it and put the 1 season, put most of the budget in the last season, and then like really like, skimp going towards it, and at least have the last battle be what you want it to be, right?
I feel like if they said, all right, we're going to give you 1 more season and that's it. Like at that point, because of the way that season 3 ended with like literally every character on a cliffhanger, makes it even more annoying. I really, really, really love season 3. It is so good. But season 2 ended on a more closed.
Yes.
Even though there was stuff that still had to happen, obviously, it was more of a.
Yes, there was a resolution.
Story's over for now. Yeah. Nothing about season 3 is the story's over. So if you get to do 1 more season and with the idea that like, forget about the Wheel of Time books, like we're not doing anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like we only have 1 more season. We have 8 more episodes. We're just going to wrap up these stories as best we can and end it and then not do and just understand that you're not getting pretty much anything from the books. Just close it up.
I would go the opposite and I would just do it like it was the next season, like you had 4 more seasons.
No, why?
Because then you have the opportunity then to, let's just say for some reason it winds up doing even better and Amazon says, you know what, let's renew it for another season or whatever, right? Like it does well. Yeah. Or you can then shop it around to another network and try to get the rest of the show made and you haven't disrupted. Because like once you end it, like
it's over.
I know, but they're doing that now and it's not happening.
No, but they didn't write the ending is what I'm saying. Like once you say, okay, we're going to the last battle and this is, and the story's over, you can't go back then and retcon the whole thing and refinish it.
Yeah, I don't know. You
Yeah.
can't just be like Bob Newhart, like Rand wakes up. It was all, the whole last season was a dream.
Yeah.
It was a Teleron. It wasn't real.
Like the Married with Children with when Peg gets pregnant.
Oh,
And
I don't
then,
know. I don't know about that one.
The
but-
last episode of Roseanne where everything was
Oh yeah,
fake.
last season was a dream. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
in Married with Children, what's her name? She was pregnant in real life and lost the baby.
Oh,
So they
okay.
just made it
gosh.
like that the whole thing was a dream. So they kind of just wrote it off the show.
Oh Jesus.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right,
What's her face?
that's terrible. I know.
I can't remember
The
her
mom,
name. Yeah.
Jackie. No,
Jackie.
Katie
Katie Seagal.
Katie
Katie
Seagal.
Seagal, yes. Yeah. She was pregnant in real life and lost the baby. So
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
terrible. Okay.
And
Wow.
then they
Well,
made
let's
it
continue
all
to
dream.
bring this show down.
no, I'm just
so-
telling you like what they did. This is an
Yeah.
example of
So-
that. Like,
Yeah, and I would say this. There's been a lot of talk about like, and you've seen a lot of articles about like Amazon's canceling the wrong show.
yes.
Right?
It's
Why
been a
spend
bunch of
money on
those.
That's not going to
What?
help. No, it's too late.
It's too late now. But I mean, first of all, everyone's right. Like in
Yes,
regards
they
to
are.
quality of the show, great. In regards to where the money can be best spent, but again, everyone's understanding the deal that they have with Rings of Power is in order to get that deal signed, it was a guaranteed 5 season, right? And while they've slow rolled the announcements for the next season or whatever, like that money's a sunk cost. They've already spent it, right? It's so like they've got to try and make as much back
Yes.
as they can on that because that money's gone.
They have no
I-
Money's
choice.
not.
I
Yeah.
don't think that we should also like be mad about Rings of Power didn't do anything wrong. Like, they
No,
struck a
no,
good deal.
no.
People don't
Yeah.
like the show. They don't think it's very good.
No, I
But
don't think they
They
did
struck
anything
a
wrong.
deal and they got what they wanted. And people that are fans of Rings of Power are happy. So, like, I'm sure there's some kind of crossover of people who do like Rings of Power. I watched the first season.
No, Amazon.
pretty-
It's Amazon's
pretty good,
fault because of the
but-
terrible
right.
deal they made.
So, but we shouldn't be like, oh, Rings of Power shouldn't have got renewed. Like, yes, they made a bad deal, but I don't want to, like, take it out on, that's another fantasy show. It should be like our brethren. We shouldn't take it out on them. It's not their fault. They got what we should have got. But, you know, good for them.
Yeah,
Sucks for us.
I don't.
Good for all the Rings of Power podcasts out there that are going strong for another 10 years. It won't be us.
Well, the new season's
Um,
coming out soon.
We're at 8 years.
No,
Whatevs.
like this year. It's coming out.
I
like,
know, but every two, we still got at
September
least 6 more years of
or July. I
podcasting,
can't remember.
I'm saying to do.
But I would say this. I know there's a lot of, including here on this podcast, to be clear, I think really personal feelings about the fact that this show is being canceled. But this show is being canceled, and as terrible as it is for all of us who are fans of it, it's being canceled because it wasn't a big enough hit, right?
Yes.
And this is a financial decision by the company. And look, no one went out of their way, not that I'm defending whatever, but no one went out of their way to say, thank you, Amazon, for spending hundreds of millions of dollars on making the first 3 seasons. But there's a lot of people who are like, fuck you, Amazon. For not continuing to spend hundreds of millions of dollars and not making that money back.
Well,
and like, I don't, at a certain level, I can understand a business decision. Like we've talked about this a lot on our Discord, just in really wonky terms. Streaming services it's a bad business model. And a lot of these people that are just streamers, like your Prime Video, like your Apple Plus, that don't create entertainment or have another entertainment pipeline to feed their streaming services, like they've realized that they can't make money doing this because there's a cap on how much their audience is. And so they have to really find cost-effective hits because no matter what they're going to do, they're only going to bring in this many people. And that's why Jennifer Salk and a whole bunch of people that ran Amazon Studio Prime Video, they all got canned because they spent a ton of money bringing in all of these big budget things, and a lot of them didn't hit.
The Rings of Power deal was prior to Salky.
Yeah.
That wasn't her deal. She brought Wheel of Time. That was her deal. Yes, of course, there's always going to be people, especially on social media, like ripping whoever. That's going to happen. But like the whole Renew Watt and Save Watt campaign has been, well, at least the Renew Watt was thank you for making such a great show. We'd love, we want more seasons, blah, blah, blah. And now I lost my train of thought. What were you saying at the end there? What I was going to say was to your point, Jen, about Rings of Power, right? Yeah, it's not Rings of Power's fault. Like we shouldn't blame Rings of Power, blame Amazon for making that deal. But if Rings of Power wasn't a thing, or it wasn't that ridiculous deal that they made, I think Wheel of Time might have not got canceled.
Yes, I agree. They've got the fact that they've got such a boondoggle on their hands financially ties them, and it forces them to make decisions that they probably wouldn't make. It is a critical darling. There's not a ton of critical darlings on Prime Video. There's some, but their hits for the most part are CBS comedy hits, right? Like nobody's saying Reacher is such a great show. They're saying that big guy punches people.
Yeah, it's That's awesome fun. When he punches people.
Well, they have Fallout and The Boys, and
The Boys I think is
that's probably the top 3.
Yeah, The Boys is over. It's over this season.
It's over.
And The Boys is probably the only one of those that I would say is a critical hit.
I think Fallout got a lot of praise and acclaim.
Yeah, but I think that yes, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, but that's it. There's nothing else on there.
No. I mean, as a streaming service, Amazon Prime Video is not a good one. They have a few shows. That's it.
Yeah, right. And now they have one less good one.
Yeah, now they have one less good show.
It's going to be Rings of Power all the way down. And movies you have to pay for.
We got some Boys spin-offs and more Reacher. There's plenty of Reacher books, I think, to pull from. And I'm sure that show doesn't cost too much money to make. Some explosions and stuff, crazy stunts, but
there's no
channeling.
There's no channeling.
No.
Or Trollocs. Although I wouldn't mind Reacher just fighting a Trolloc.
Yes.
Maybe they could just put the two shows together and combine the budgets, and then Reacher could help. He could be in the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
And he could be Rand's friend. I like this idea.
Just to I don't know how to follow that. I was trying to segue it into a Save Watt discussion, but I don't know now. I think Jen already did. The campaign over. Jen just saved Wheel of Time.
I did.
The
cold open of the next season is just Loyhouse falling, and Reacher just grabs him and picks him up in the waist. Saves him with one hand.
Ray says he who punches the dawn.
I hope they're listening.
Yes. So there is an effort, though, by the fan community to try and save the Wheel of Time. You can go to savewatt.com. You sign the petition. Please sign the petition. There's about 70 or close to 80,000 signatures already. And there's all kinds of things you can do, right? You go to the website, you can sign the petition, you could submit a video, write a Watt love letter, follow on social media, things like that. And there's also some social media themed things to get the hashtag trending. So we will put that link in the show notes, of course. Keep an eye on Save Watt. Share it with anybody. Get your family to sign it. They don't need to know what Wheel of Time is. Just have them sign the petition.
Yeah.
Trust me, Granddad. Just sign this.
Don't they want you to be happy?
Grandma, what's your email account password?
And your social security number. Trust me, it's for my own good.
Yes. So we want to talk a little bit about some other shows that have also been canceled, but have been revived.
Yes, you know what? I wanna feel a little stronger twinge of hope, Joe.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
There was a lot that I found, right? And I didn't, we couldn't talk about all of them, obviously. So I was trying to get some like very popular shows that newer shows too, within the last like 15 years or so, something like that, 15, 20 years, just to kind of get maybe some good comps for the Wheel of Time. And also ones that were very successful after they got revived, right? Nothing that just was one more season. So I got a list here of about 6 that I think we could talk about. And it ranges anywhere from sitcoms to, 1 hour action, sci-fi, fantasy type shows and everything in between. So shall we start off with the first one on the list here?
Sure.
All right.
Yes.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Great show.
See all the comps between this and
Fantastic show.
Very similar to the Wheel of Time. They rhyme.
Kind of rhymes, almost.
Yeah.
yes, that's the one who killed my brother. Oh my God, I forgot. Best open.
So it ran on Fox. The first network it ran on was Fox, and it ran from 2013 to 2018. It was 5 seasons before it was canceled due to just never really picking up steam in the ratings. Interestingly enough, it just wasn't getting the viewership. Interestingly enough,
this is
really.
This is truly. Please, Joe, tell us how enough was this interest?
It wasn't enough. It was there was a lot of networks were interested in this show after Fox was like, we're not going to continue, which is kind of unusual, right? So there was Hulu, TBS, Netflix, but NBC eventually picked it up, as people know who've seen the show. 31 hours after it was announced to be canceled.
Whew.
It's nice.
It beat us.
31 hours.
Wow.
And it's funny? The show was originally developed by NBC, and then they sold it to Fox.
Okay.
God damn it. Let Sandberg go.
Yeah. Yeah, because obviously it's Sandberg, and it's, I think, what's their names produced it, right? Shore and Gore.
Yeah.
Who, obviously had shows on NBC.
Yeah.
Parks and Rec and...
Sure, from The Office, yeah.
Yeah, The Office, So
how many more seasons did it get on NBC?
3 more seasons. For a total of 8 seasons. It ran from 2019 to 2021. So basically didn't miss a beat. 31 hours it lasted. It was on the table before it was revived. Not bad for a television show, I'd say. I think that's the shortest turnaround that I saw out of these.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. It was the right choice, too. I feel like there's a lot of money that's being made in syndication or like, whatever it is, whatever they call it now, video on demand, SVOD, right? That's the streaming video on demand.
Okay.
Right. Because that's a whole nother royalties rights contract type of thing. And I'm not even sure who actually owns those rights. I'm guessing NBC does. I don't know.
Reading something today about that. It was an article about like actors getting royalties, and they said that like they'll get less royalties now for a show because it doesn't go into syndication and spread out over a bunch of different networks. It just stays. So maybe it's on Peacock or it's probably on Hulu because everything's on Hulu, but it's only on the NBC. It's not like going to like TBS unless it's going into syndication. But for like streaming shows, like a Netflix show, probably would never go into like syndication on like TBS or something.
No, you're right. It's vice versa though. Like right, like a network show will go right Netflix will buy the rights to that show.
I don't know if that's considered syndication, like how the rights.
No, of course not.
Royalties for the actors.
Like HBO has or I guess Max has Friends, right? They bought the rights to Friends. So yeah, you're right. This is on Hulu now. So Hulu is a Disney Fox vehicle. So I'm guessing Fox must own the rights, or Disney, or whoever.
I can't keep Fox, straight. So. Like
one of those conglomerations of one of the companies probably has the SVOD rights and makes the money from that. Yeah, I learned a lot. I feel like I wish we had a more expert guest on to talk about some of this behind the scenes stuff because I was learning some interesting things about television shows and how they're made and things like that. Next up, this is a little bit of an older show, a little bit of a different story, Arrested Development. Right. So this was on Fox for 3 seasons, or I like to say 2.5 seasons because they just kind of cut that last season. From 2003 to 2006, it was canceled due to very low ratings, although it was very critically acclaimed. It won awards for writing, casting, directing, series. Like it won a ton of awards, but nobody watched the show.
Nobody watched it.
Nobody watched the show. They moved it around to a few different time slots and just didn't take. So it got canceled. And then eventually, like 7 years later, Netflix picked it up and decided to do another season of the show. And then a few years later, they did another season of the show. But it was very weird because the first Revivals show was like each character had an episode and it just followed that character for an episode. So it wasn't really linear. It would just follow a character for each episode. And then, it's weird. Netflix actually created, or they re-edited it into a linear show. So they edited all those episodes together to be chronological, the things that happened in there. And then I think they got rid of the original airings of the show.
That's odd. That is weird.
Like you can't find them.
It's all happening at the same time.
Yes. So like basically like this episode's one character. Yeah, it's all happening over the course of, let's say, like 2 days or 3 days.
Oh my God.
But you literally, each episode just follows one character. And you'll occasionally you'll see them cross paths. Or you'll learn like, oh, that was that guy in that scene. I didn't know that.
Oh my God. That's interesting.
Yeah. It was pretty
experimental.
Yeah, very experimental. But yeah, the show was so popular though after it got canceled, like it caught on, and I think it was just the fact that the show was a bit ahead of its time. Like people didn't understand it and get it, and it was a half-hour like sitcom, but it was like a serial sitcom, so you couldn't just like jump in on an episode and know what was going on because there were a lot of storylines that crossed like over the whole season or multiple episodes.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I thought it was very hard. If memory serves, it was very hard for them to kind of advertise, like find a good way to advertise what the show was.
Yeah.
Because like it was obviously it's making fun of these people, but not in an obvious way.
Yeah.
Like it's done like they're playing it like, it's a documentary about these just ridiculous people. And it was, I felt like people didn't understand what the show was or why it was supposed to be funny.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things that show did was at the end of the episode, you'd hear next time on Arrested Development, and they'd show you clips, but none of that ever happened in the next episode. Like they were just clips that they did and then they were never in the next episode.
That's funny.
It's a funny show, but I think what happened with this show was it went into syndication or wherever it was at the time after that, and it just got a lot of people were watching it a lot and got a lot of views. So then Netflix was like, "Hey, we can bring this back."
Did they have like all of the same cast come back for the revival?
Yeah, I think honestly part of why that revival was done that way was because they couldn't get all the cast back.
Well, they mentioned that's one of the things.
At the same time.
It was easier. It was easier to do that way and cheaper to do that way because of that. Yeah.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So 31 hours, 7 years.
I think
let's get like a little bit in the middle.
The rest are in between, I think. The rest are in between, I think. All right, this is an interesting one. It's funny because these next, well, the first one, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and these next two I'm going to do kind of are all connected in a way. So the next up is Last Man Standing, right? That was the Tim Allen show. Yes, it was on ABC for 6 seasons.
My God.
From 2011 to 2017. there was a lot of controversy over the cancellation of the show. Tim Allen is, conservative, and I think he had just gone to like the Trump inauguration, and there was a whole big thing about it, and everyone thought that they canceled the show because of that. But let's see. I have a quote here. It says, on a call, ABC Entertainment President Channing Dungey called the decision to not renew Last Man Standing the type of tough calls she needs to make in her job. Asked whether the show's content and the fact that Allen is a prominent Republican played a role in the decision, she said, I canceled Last Man Standing for the same business and scheduling reasons I canceled The Real O'Neills, Dr. Ken, The Catch, and American Crime. It was a challenging call because it was steady performer, but when we made the decision not to continue with the comedies on Friday, that's where it landed. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. Not to continue with comedies on Fridays. Well, what about the other 6 days of the week?
We can't. Our schedule is full.
But they replaced it, right? Friday, they replaced it with Once Upon a Time, Marvel's The Inhumans, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So that
they
were
going
just
more serious on Fridays.
Yeah, they would do the whole reprogramming of that.
Okay. TGIF didn't work for 20 years.
Yeah. And so this is another instance. This show wasn't owned by ABC. It was actually owned by 20th Century Fox, who actually owned the show. They were the ones who created the show. So that likely had something to do with it as well. Because of that, they say that sometimes it could be more expensive to renew shows if like you don't own the show.
Okay.
And I guess that's because the studios that make the show would try to push up the price of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like when I'll do a sports analogy in basketball. When it's kind of the opposite though. When one of your players becomes a free agent, you can sign them to a larger deal than other teams could under certain circumstances.
Okay.
Right.
This is the opposite though. You can sign it lower. You could renew it for a cheaper price.
Yeah. Well, you're also like every dollar that you get back on that show, if you're the only person who owns it, comes back to you. Right. And if you got to split the pie, you got to split the pie. And so, if it's a steady performer, but it's not a huge hit, how much money are you really making on it?
It was a popular show. It was like their third most watched show, I think,
Yeah. Tim Allen's a huge television star.
He is a huge television star, and it was a good show. Let's not forget that.
I've
never seen
just don't
it.
watch TV. I've never seen it.
I've seen. I haven't watched a lot of it, but I've seen it. It's
Nancy
funny.
Travis, right? Nancy Travis was the wife, right?
Yeah. You got Nancy Travis and him, and Jay Leno was on the show for a bit.
Jay Leno?
Yes, he was on the show for a while. Like I think he had a recurring character. He was in like
As
30
himself?
episodes. No, I don't know. It's a good question.
That's not a selling point. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Hector Elizondo's in that show.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, it went on. So Fox picked it up. It went on for 3 more seasons, surpassing its ratings at ABC, and it became Fox's most watched comedy in 7 years.
Wow. Good for them.
Yeah.
You go, Fox.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want this story.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want to be
Last Man Standing.
insert streaming service here's best hit, greatest hit for the next 10 years.
In the last 7 years. Yes, we want the Wheel of Time to be the most watched comedy in the last 7 years.
On Fox.
On Fox. Yes, on Fox.
I'll have to get cable again if that happens.
That's what we'll have to aim for that. That's our goal here.
Okay. 26 half-hour episodes. That's what we're doing.
So you notice this happened in 2018. So this is right after Brooklyn. So this happened when Brooklyn Nine-Nine left Fox. Last Man Standing came over to Fox the same year.
Okay.
So I think that's one of the reasons why Fox picked it up was because they didn't renew Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so they needed some content there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And here's another one that's related to that. This one is Lucifer, which I didn't realize that this show was that popular that it stopped and started again, because I guess I never really followed the show. But this was on Fox for 3 seasons from 2016 to 2018 and then ended. So Fox didn't renew this one as well. So this happened. This was around the same time as Brooklyn Nine-Nine got the shaft. Lucifer got the shaft as well. Yeah. All this to make room for Last Man Standing, I bet.
Clear house.
Yeah. So for this show, the ratings had dropped. So part of this was happening during the Fox sale to Disney. So I think that's why Brooklyn Nine-Nine, this got shit because of the sale. They were, I guess, probably trying to clean up some things. And
so did they pick up Last Man Standing as like a Toy Story? Like because of Disney, and like,
well, it's funny because
Buzz Lightyear needed to be on a Disney station
because ABC owns Disney owns ABC, so right.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
So I think
Disney owns Fox and ABC now.
Well, they don't own Fox. They own Fox Television Studios and the network.
Right, and and 20th Century Fox movies.
Yes,
but they don't own Fox Sports. And they don't own Fox Network.
This is like insurance companies that own each other.
Or Fox News.
Yeah.
It's like a Russian nesting dolls.
So this was a case. It's almost a case of like at least Last Man Standing of it just moving to another network within the umbrella or soon to be under the umbrella. There's a story about another show that people are going to say ask me why I didn't talk about. I'll mention it at the end. That's a little bit similar. Although this show was actually canceled. So.
Lucifer.
Yeah, Lucifer. No, I'm reading my notes here to see what was going on. This was another one where it said it was owned by an outside studio. At the time, we couldn't justify the economics. That was Dana Walden, the chairperson and CEO of Fox Television. So you had. Here's one of the things why it cost so much money, because Jerry Bruckheimer was attached to it.
Oh, geez.
Yes. He, I think, produced the show and that kind of, it was an expensive show where you don't think it should have been an expensive show because of that. So like I said, the ratings had kind of weren't that great at the time and it was expensive and it was like, it's another studio that owns it, an outside studio.
And I've never seen Lucifer, but Lucifer is a police procedural, except the police work with the devil, who's a good guy, right? That's
this
the
is
plot of that show.
He's Lucifer from
I mean,
it's from Neil Gaiman at the Sandman.
Yeah, it's a DC.
It's a DC thing. Yes.
Yeah, but like, I just want to be clear. Like, that's what the premise of the show is. Lucifer is now on Earth helping the cops fight crime.
I guess I never saw it. So
he's the devil.
He's the devil. Yes, the Lucifer. But he's not bad. He's good.
But why?
Is he good, or is it like a
comic book thing?
Like a Silence of the Lambs type thing where he's helping them, but he's still
I think he's like unabashedly like good, rediscovering his angelness, or like
he's definitely handsome.
Or it might be one of those ones like,
and I think
it might be one of those things
too,
like
right?
What's the other like Preacher, where God is bad, and so Lucifer is really not the bad guy or whatever.
God is the bad guy.
Yeah.
God, what are you doing?
So
even
bad.
though
he's so bad. This is an example of a show that had a really big fan campaign to get it brought back. At one point, it was the #1 trending topic on social media on Twitter, with 3.64 million tweets and 5.63 million retweets.
Wow!
Yikes!
So everybody, get your asses moving. We need to get Wheel of Time up to this level.
We need
come on, everybody get like 18 different Blue Sky accounts or whatever you're doing.
I don't think you're going to get that on Blue Sky. You got to go to Twitter.
Well, that's it.
I don't even know if there's that many people on Blue Sky.
No, I think my point was more along the lines of there weren't 3 million. There weren't 3 million people, individuals who are like, please bring Lucifer back. Twitter's rife with I've got 18 accounts.
Oh yeah. But they did a good job. So
Yeah.
Netflix decided that they were going to pick it up, and it ran for 3 more seasons from 2019 to 2021. So that again kind of really didn't miss a beat between the seasons. So successful.
Yeah.
Another successful revival. Next up we have on the list. This is maybe closest to the Wheel of Time in the sense of this is The Expanse, right? So this is a sci-fi show that was on, this was on a network. It was on Sci-Fi from 2015 to 2018,
Yeah. Oh, wow.
3 seasons. This was also, right, it was not produced by Sci-Fi. This was produced by the Alcon Television Group. And this show had like really, really high critical praise. The last 2 seasons of the show, 2 and 3, it got a 95 and 100% respectively on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
But this is one of those things I think was more of a money. It was about $5 to $7 million an episode budget for Sci-Fi. And they only
usually 2 seasons.
Yeah, and they only had the first run rights, so they only got money for when it first aired. So I guess somebody else must have owned the syndication or the restreaming rights, the streaming video on demand rights. So they couldn't even make money off of that. So the viewership wasn't that good because they were basing it all off on like those first runs, and it wasn't even as good as. Here are the other 3 shows that beat it out. The Magicians.
Yes.
I mean, these are sci-fi shows, right? Of course, that makes sense. Krypton.
Okay.
And
I remember that was a show.
And Happy.
Oh, Happy.
Oh, okay.
The Christopher Maloney, right? Show.
Patton Oswalt.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, these 3 shows all beat out The Expanse. A couple of weeks after Sci-Fi announced that it wasn't renewing, Jeff Bezos himself announced that Amazon was making a deal to get the show and continue airing it.
All right, so a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Jen Salke, part of this one. I think this was her doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it ran for another 3 seasons from 2019 to 2022. It's a very successful show. Again, it was an expensive show, and I think I was reading some stuff like they could have went on. There was still more material, but it's weird because there's like in the books there's like a really huge time jump, and they would almost have to have like all new cast, and they were like, that's kind of weird to do. They didn't think it was going to work, so they just ended it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think when you're talking about that, like the setup and the ethos at Amazon at the time, was to try and make an impression and try and be like a creator destination. So there was a lot of like thought by Salke to like, let's bring in like either big name creators or things that have these kind of critical these critical darlings, for lack of a better term, right? And like that buzz and that thing is going to generate more to us. That was kind of the philosophy of that. Hopefully somebody else somewhere else feels like that now. That's what we're kind of hoping for.
Yeah.
Is that there's another outlet that's looking to do the same thing, because I think that's the sweet spot that this show is in, where it's got this high quality and it's got this high critical acclaim, and it may not have the audience that you want, but it has something else to it that it brings. Yeah. And it does have a good audience. It doesn't have a bad audience. It just doesn't. It's not like season 4 Game of Thrones. It's not a huge audience. Right?
Yeah. And I think this has got a lot of rewatch value on it. which I think a lot of these streaming services and networks are looking at, like the either streaming sales or syndication. A lot of these shows, like I'm thinking like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Arrested Development, probably made more money after they finished airing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what's interesting about The Expanse? The renewal was announced before they even finished airing the third season. So the show was picked up. So they canceled the show while season 3 was airing, and then it was picked back up before the season finished airing. So
that's nice.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's nice for them.
Yeah, we didn't get that luxury of that potentially happening because they didn't make their decision till after. I've got one more on my list here.
Let's do it.
This one is Cobra Kai.
Oh, Cobra Kai.
Yeah. So it was on YouTube Red. Remember YouTube Red? It's now YouTube Premium. It's not. That was YouTube streaming before they changed the name to YouTube Premium. YouTube Red for 2 seasons from 2018 to 2019. So YouTube had changed its business model and moved away from scripted TV. So it was more of just like, this is not what we're doing anymore type of thing. The funny part about this one is that they had already renewed the 3rd season and filmed it.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And then decided they were going to air it?
Yes. They said, like, we're not going to do it. So they already filmed and renewed. So it was shopped around after that, and Netflix picked it up. And Netflix didn't even like release that 3rd season right away. I think what they did was they brought the first 2 seasons on and they let those run for a little while to get so people could, watch them, and then they released the 3rd season.
Okay.
So I think they were sitting on it for a while.
That's all right.
Well,
they didn't even have to spend the money to make the season.
Well, I'm sure that was part of the deal.
Was part of the deal, you think?
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, I'm sure. They probably had to pay for that whole season.
Yeah, well,
I bet you they paid more than it cost to make it.
that was a pretty big hit, though, for Netflix.
Yeah, it lasted for 4 more seasons from 2021 to 2025.
A good show.
And it ended of its own accord.
It's like a male soap opera.
Oh yeah,
That's how I describe. It's very like super dramatic.
American soap opera.
No, a male soap opera.
No, but American, not like a telenovela or a Korean soap opera.
Like a regular soap opera.
Okay.
Yeah, American. But like super dramatic. I don't want to spoil. Does anyone care if I spoil something from Cobra Kai? Cover your ears if you're going to watch.
Spoiler. I didn't do a spoiler alert for Cobra Kai at the top of this episode.
One of the kids like falls on his back on a fence or something, or on a school off the 2nd floor, and is like basically paralyzed for like half of the next season. But then like through the power of like karate and emotions, like starts walking again.
Wait, was it? What did they do to Miyagi on his back? The hand
that does happen in the show, but I don't think Johnny was like rehabbing him, and then
with the Miyagi hands.
Yeah. Skeeter's asking in chat, aren't Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio doing a sequel or something?
Yeah, yes, coming out soon.
They are, but it's
Karate Kid Legacy.
Like, yeah,
so they're gonna teach him karate, but with a kung fu twist to it, or kung fu with a karate twist to it, or something.
Yeah, it doesn't. I think Ralph Macchio, as far as I know, is the only person from Cobra Kai that's going to be in this movie. But so it's taking place after Cobra Kai, but not like it's in the same universe, but they're not really going to reference Cobra Kai as far as I know.
Yeah,
so.
my understanding. Whatever. I just for whatever reason read a lot about this movie yesterday morning. So it's mostly a direct sequel to the Karate Kid reboot with Jackie Chan in the Miyagi-esque role of Mr. Han, right? Where even though it's called Karate Kid, I'm pretty sure in that movie as well he teaches him kung fu.
Jaden Smith.
Yeah. So this kid is Mr. Han's was Mr. Han's student in Taiwan, moves to America, like in a very Karate Kid-esque thing, gets a girlfriend's ex-boyfriend is a karate master, doesn't like him, beats him up, challenges him to a tournament.
Okay.
So he has to learn karate to be in this tournament because it's not a kung fu tournament, it's a karate tournament.
So they go and get.
So first Mr. Han flies from China to America to help him out, and then goes, "Oh wait, what you really need is I'm going to go to my old buddy Miyagi's,
Miyagi-Do.
right? His disciple. He flies out to California, gets Daniel to come back to New York or Philly or wherever the hell they are,
New York,
and
I like it.
and then they train this guy in no joke 10 days.
You can do it.
Karate to fight the karate tournament. Also, if people are watching, there's a charming subplot where the girl that this guy falls in love with, her dad is an ex-boxer who's looking to get back into the ring, an Italian boxer played by Joshua Jackson.
What?
Yeah,
Joshua Jackson.
Yeah,
Is he like 50? What is?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Not
he's
Italian at all.
Yeah.
But he's got to be like almost 50 years old.
Yeah, but he's the dad.
Yeah, he's the dad.
Okay.
Girl's dad.
But he's an ex-boxer looking to get back in
But he's
the
looking
ring.
to get back in the ring is the part
the Kung Fu kid, Karate Kid, teaches him a whole bunch of Kung Fu stuff to help him re-energize his training.
Why is Joshua Jackson not in any of the marketing for this?
And
He's in a ton of the marketing for
I
it.
didn't
You
know.
just
I had
don't-
no idea. It was
you
just-
still
it was
recognize him. And this is
I
the great
do
way to
recognize
introduce
him.
our new Karate Kid podcast. That's what we're doing next.
No, I hope
All
not.
right, and here's Dan.
Right.
I'm leaving. No, I really did. Cobra Kai was a good show. I enjoyed it. I liked watching it.
Yeah, it got 4 more seasons on
happy it got-
Netflix. So
Yeah, and it got to it's owned by Sony.
yeah, another one owned
And
by
it got
Sony.
to have the ending that got to write the ending and everyone was happy. Let Wheel of Time do the same.
Yeah,
Let it come to its conclusion. We need that.
yeah, we definitely need that for sure. Sony still, I believe, maintains the rights to the Wheel of Time, so the ball's in their court. They can shop it around.
Shop it.
I don't know, like, what the contract is. I'm assuming if they don't get it made, that at some point the rights will revert back to Red Eagle. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how long it is, but yes, I think eventually that would be the case. Yeah, 7 years aside, I think what we're really
Or IWAT. It's their IWAT now. Yeah.
right is like we're hoping to hear something sooner rather than later. I think if I think hopefully we can hear something in the month of June, and that'll be good. I think if we go into the 4th of July, then you're talking about I don't know. Then you're talking about something different, probably in regards to the renewal.
Yeah, and we're talking about something different.
Yeah.
Now, I know people are going to say, what about Buffy the Vampire Slayer? That show, why didn't you talk about that show? That was a show that was canceled. But it wasn't canceled, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It never was actually canceled. Right, so it was originally on the WB, and there was an acquisition of UPN by News Corp. So then what they did, right, News Corp, I believe, owned the WB. So basically they just decided, like, we're just going to move it to our other network now.
Okay.
So it was never actually canceled. They just, because of this buyout thing, that they just moved it to their other network. So that's why I didn't really talk about that one, because that wasn't really an official cancellation. I
It's
think
okay. We don't have to talk about everything.
No, I know. I'm
There's
just
a lot
saying.
more that we didn't talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot of other shows on here, right? Family Matters, You, Nashville, Longmire, Cougar Town.
Wait, what channel was
Scrubs.
you on?
It was a Lifetime show the first season.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
She just gave you like a stop in the name of love.
Stop.
I was surprised, Jen, when I saw
no
that too. I was
clue.
like, this was on Lifetime?
Wow.
Scrubs, Different Strokes, Stargate, SG1, and JAG.
I
All
don't
on
remember
that
Different
list.
Strokes.
Yeah. It only aired, I think, one more season when it switched over.
I think it was
Insane.
Maybe 2 seasons. I don't remember. And Star Trek didn't technically return. There were spin-offs in a movie, but the original show never came back after it was canceled.
Yeah.
I never knew that show. That show got canceled after 3 seasons. I had no idea. I
Star
thought,
Trek?
yeah, for some reason I thought they were just like 11,
Oh, yeah,
12 seasons of of
No,
episodes.
there were a lot of episodes, but yeah, it was only 3 seasons long. After the second season, there was a danger of it being canceled, and they got it renewed for a third season, but then it was canceled for real, and then there was a cartoon, and then they made the movie like
they
10
made
years
the
later.
movie, and then it's the Next
And then
Generation.
yeah.
And then they made all those other ones.
Yeah. After the Next Generation, there's pretty much always been something Star Trek happening.
Yeah. So yeah, just another lot of shows that so there's a lot out there, right? There's a lot of shows out there that were canceled, but then picked up or revived in some way or another. So there is hope. I agree with you, Tom. The longer, just from these examples, the longer it goes, the less of a chance I think we have of the show, getting picked up.
Yeah, which is why if you if you're interested in joining the Safe Walk campaign, now is the time to do it. And it doesn't really require you to do much of anything. Yeah, there's a petition to sign. Yeah, it's like, hey, what we're trying to do is just generate social media buzz about the show still. So, pay attention to any of your fellow fans or creators on any kind of social media accounts you follow, and just like and retweet the stuff that they're doing about saving the Wheel of Time, and join in if you feel compelled to join in. But if you're thinking about it and you're on the fence, now is the time to go, you know what does it hurt? What's a retweet hurt?
It's so easy a caveman can do it. I just made that up now.
That's a good tagline.
Thanks.
Very smart.
Just came to me.
Amazing.
Now we're going to have to think of something to talk about next week. That's going to be really tough. Hopefully there's something to talk about. Well, next week we're going to be talking about how Watt is coming back. That's what we're going to be talking about, right?
Mm-hmm. Put it out there.
Apple TV picked it up.
Yeah, that's my hope, right?
I'll take anybody at this point.
That's also true.
I'll take Paramount Plus. Just give me something.
Nothing wrong with Paramount Plus.
It's where my kid watches Nick Jr.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't have any big budget shows though.
Yeah, Tulsa King.
I'm sorry.
Tulsa King was good. I watched the first season, but I don't have Paramount Plus anymore. So
yeah, and it's got all it's got the Star Wars stuff. It's got Strange New Worlds and
Star Wars.
Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, Strange New Worlds, and Picard was on there, and what's the other one? The cartoon Below Decks.
Didn't that get canceled?
I think it's over now. I don't know if I got canceled. I think it's already done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If you had your choice of streaming services and you can put Prime back in there, as well as an option, where would you want the Wheel of Time to go?
Ooh, that's a good. You know what? If Prime was still an option, I'd rather it just be on Prime again. I'd rather them go, yeah, we were wrong, because that's going to be the quickest way for it to get back going.
Yeah.
And the most likelihood of all the creative pieces that have been involved in the show continue to be involved in the show. Right? Anywhere else, you're going to have to rebuild everything and figure out a way to do that. And how does that all work?
Yeah. How about you, Jen?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, staying with Prime is the best thing right now. But I mean, I guess I'd love to see it on Apple TV, or I'm just thinking of like who's the most likely to pick it up.
No, I don't want to know who's most likely. I said, who would you want to pick it up?
Prime.
You had Prime?
I don't care. Somebody who's going to put money into it.
Anyone who's going to throw money at it. Jen just wants to throw money at the problem.
Apple TV. That's it.
Yeah.
Hulu. I don't know. Whoever.
Well, I mean, Netflix is right. The Witcher is basically in the tank at this point. Stranger Things is ending. They have some, a slot to fill there, or two slots to fill there. So I think I wouldn't mind on Netflix, but I know Netflix is so fickle with their shows.
Yeah.
Netflix, I feel like we're going to be doing this every year.
Yes. They'll just every year they're going to cancel the show. Yeah, I don't know. Netflix would be nice just because I think they have the money to put into it.
Yeah, the marketing.
Yeah, they'll actually market it. Yeah,
But we'll see.
All right. I think this is a good place to wrap it up. We want to end it on a happy note, but that didn't really seem like a happy note.
All right. Well, we're putting this out into the universe.
Next week,
Everyone
we're going to be
keep signing.
talking about how Wheel of Time came back.
I like that.
And we're going to be
the joke.
flabbergasted by where it wound up.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Lifetime network.
Have that work. Who would have thunk it?
The Learning Channel. No, maybe
What if it was on
AMC.
Sci-Fi?
Bravo.
What if it was
AMC.
on Sci-Fi?
I would do it. Is Sci-Fi still around? I don't know. I don't watch
I
those
don't know.
channels anymore.
They probably are.
Winter
I don't
Dragon
know,
Return?
Winter Dragon Returns.
It's on Comedy Central.
No,
Or
AMC.
which- It was on
AMC will pick it
Sci-Fi at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
No,
Is the channel
FX.
FX. What if FX picks it up?
Yeah, FX. Do
Let's do it. Yeah, I will. I'll get cable again. I swear I'll do it.
Yeah. Get your cable ready because that's where it's going. Next week, Jen's going to be talking. Next week's podcast,
with
Jen will be
Verizon.
calling up Verizon.
I'm sure it'll be
Excuse
really
me, Verizon, can you get me the station that has the Wheel of Time?
So I dial.
We're going to have, look at this.
It's a rotary phone?
My youngest son, still awake at 10 o'clock, just came down here. And at any second, he may either turn the lights off on me or come
Oh,
on to the
good.
show.
All right. Well, we're going to end it anyway. So I want to remind everyone to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. Join us over in Discord to continue the conversation there. We also post our episodes on YouTube, so be sure to go to our YouTube page to like and subscribe. Rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts, and check out our merchandise and Patreon pages to support us that way. Links to all the aforementioned information are included in the show notes to this episode. Don't forget to go to savewatt.com. Final thoughts, Jen and Tom?
Save Watt. Somebody save Watt.
I feel like
Do
we should
it.
write like a Save Watt anthem or a parody.
Like a We Are the World.
Yeah. Save
Oh, you want to?
Watt.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
yes,
Let's do
I
it.
The
Let's-
Wheel of Time.
We got to like
Yes.
fly. We could do it at Walk. Oh, it's too late there.
No, but yes.
We
I
could do it
think
anyway if
that's-
it was a joke.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, let's lock that up.
Wheel
That's-
on.
that's-
Game has
Wheel
it.
on the-
Wheel on the world.
We'll are the world.
Or it could be
It's
We Are the Wheel.
We'll are the children.
Wheel are the world. The less sense it makes, the better.
We'll are the wheel. Just say wheel over
The wheel that rolls her around.
Oh my gosh.
Let's start weaving. Anyway.
It writes itself. It writes
It
itself.
writes itself. Thanks everyone for listening, and you'll hear us next time. That's how you end the podcast.